Hello and welcome back to my Pennsylvania Zone 6B garden. Today we are going to do a little backyard February winter garden tour. Let's go ahead and see what my gardens are doing in the month of February. All right, we're going to start at the very bottom of the property. Leland cypress is looking really good. These really do put on growth very quickly. So if you're looking for a tree that puts on a lot of growth in a little amount of time, Leland cypress is definitely the way to go. I'm not gonna look in the shed because there might be mice. Let's take a look at the shed bed. Here is the garden shed for reference. I don't know if anybody saw the video about how my husband and I went through and we did a leaf mulch on this particular bed. I do see there are some bare spots, but overall, it looks like the chopped up leaves are pretty much intact. Everything looks good back here. I haven't been down here since maybe October. So it's definitely time for me to get outside and check and see what's going on and see if anything needs immediate attention or if there's any issues of any point or any part. But here is my crepe myrtle, and this is looking fantastic. Just love the bark on crepe myrtle. Now you can see right here, this was a buck. So deer came here and decided to rub his horns on the trunk of this tree, but I don't think it's too bad. Here is one from a couple years ago. That right there is a pretty big wound, but the tree itself does not seem to be suffering from that buck rub. Now over here we have a rose that needs to be chopped down. I wanted to take a look at this red twig dogwood. I have been limbing this up into a tree form, but you can see the new shoots have a lot of really bright red coloring on the bark. You can see the other part has a little bit of red, but not that super vibrant red. So what I'm going to be doing in the late winter, early spring is I'm going to come back and do a rejuvenation prune, which means I'm just going to go ahead and cut all of this off, and we're going to start over and reflush out a brand new shrub. And that way, all of the bark is going to be that vibrant red color during the winter time. Everything else looks pretty good in this bed. The other thing that I wanted to check was this tree right here. This is a flowering plum tree. And this poor tree, we moved this tree back in the early summer, 2024, because it was not happy in its location, and it seems to be okay. We didn't know if it was going to make it or not. So here's my little test. If you take your thumb and if you rub it on the bark, you can see that there's life. There's a little bit of yellow right there. That means that this particular limb is still alive, which is great. Again, we weren't sure if this was going to make it or not. Let me back up here and show you the tree. If it does make it, that'd be fantastic, but it was a risk worth taking. We weren't quite sure if it was going to make it or not, but we thought we would give it a try. So I'm gonna wait until the spring, see how it leaves out. This tree might stay, this tree might go. We'll have to wait and see. Deck looks okay. Definitely needs a good cleaning, but other than that, looks pretty good. And over here, this bed, we have a climbing rose that will need to be trimmed and retrained. I'll be doing that sooner than later. But that's looking good. My dwarf weeping willow is looking good. Definitely have some cleanup to do. Here is a Kwanzaa cherry tree. And just like up at the top of the property, we have buds all over it. So this is going to give us a beautiful, beautiful show in the springtime. Yay. Very excited about that. Okay, swing over to here. Oh, our magnolia is looking fantastic. I do need to clean up a little bit around the base of the magnolia. But man, this really has a lot of signs of life. Lots of buds. Oh yeah. This is a lemon magnolia, and the fragrance on this tree is absolutely amazing. It is so fragrant. I'm so glad I got this tree. This was an investment tree, but it was definitely worth it. And it's really put on a lot of growth. This will be the 5th year that we've had this tree. And it's finally starting to really beef up. All right, perennials, some grasses, the shrubs are looking good. So far not seeing anything super worrisome. And that is such a bright pop of yellow. I should get more of these. Note to self. Here's a crab apple that I purchased last year. And very good. Let me see here. There's some life. So that is awesome. I might come back and do a little bit of pruning on this tree, but for the first couple years, I want it to get as much photosynthesis as it can. So I'm not going to be cutting and limbing this up really hard. Eventually I will, but right now I just want it to grow and get a really good root system. Over here, some stuff that I didn't clean up. There's my peony cages, note to self. Then we have a whole bunch of seedlings growing back here. Very good. Shrubs are looking great. This evergreen tree is still my favorite and I love it. A whole bunch of seedlings over here. This will have to be thinned out, but that's looking really nice. This hydrangea tree right here, this is a standard hydrangea tree and it drives me crazy every year. So this spring we are removing it and we're going to replace it with a regular hydrangea, not the tree form. And hopefully the standard non-tree form will have a better structure and not get as floppy. And a couple little seedlings, probably Cleome. Okay, lots and lots of seedlings. A little bit of winter weeding, but nothing too bad. Shrubs are all looking good. Evergreens are looking good. It's very important to have evergreens for winter interest. Right here is my holly hedge. They've put on a lot of beautiful growth. No major damage from the polar vortex. All right, let me go over here. Butterfly bush is looking just fine. We'll be cutting that back in the early-ish spring. Blueberry bush looks fine. Lots of seedlings and a little bit of weeds right there. If I shift over to here, here's a whole bunch of Dara seeds, which is one of my favorite annuals to plant. I think they are just so pretty. I do have a couple of seedlings in our chatio as well. Once it gets warmer out, I will probably pull some of these out and plant them in the front garden. There's a bag with something in it. I don't know what it is. Why I did this, I don't know. But I took a houseplant and I planted it outside and I didn't bring it in. And if you were there for my staghorn fern fiasco. Here's the top of the staghead fern, and please excuse that bag, I'll get that. Have some Shasta daisies right here, some proven winners. Right here where that cement pad is, that is where our fountain goes. So everything is looking quite nice. Here's a container with a beautiful evergreen in it. I was really worried about this, but it looks like it's going to be just fine. We did have sub-zero temperatures for a little bit, and that was worrisome. A couple of weeds and some more seedlings over in this area. But again, not too worried about all that. A whole bunch of seedlings back over in there in the corner. And these boxwoods are looking beautiful. Okay, let's walk down this way, and then I'll come up and do the rest of the driveway bed. Beautiful seed heads on this penstemon. Oh, so pretty. And then all of this is snapdragons. So here's a whole bunch of snapdragon seeds. I'm just gonna let it go to town here, and we'll cut everything back later on in the spring. And hopefully we'll get a whole new flush of beautiful snapdragons. You can see that there are some larkspur seedlings in here from where I sprinkled them. And these are all zinnias that I cut back. I just left the roots in the ground. Looking good. I'm really happy with how everything is looking. I thought things were going to be a little more trashed from the super cold weather. Okay, the raised bed. Oh, look at all the beautiful growth points on this hydrangea. Oh, that's going to be pretty. A grass that I need to move. Shrub roses look just fine. These roses are, I believe, the Oh So Easy. And then we have some Gara right here. Not too many weeds. Seedlings? Yes. Weeds? No. Oh my goodness, I just noticed the buds on my dogwood. Okay, let's spin around. All right, so these 3 roses right here do good in the spring, and then they kind of fizzle out. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be moving them or if I'm going to keep them where they are, to be determined, but they are a gorgeous peachy color. Then my really stunning pine tree. Here's another crabapple tree. This crabapple tree is looking just fine as well, and I'm looking for any signs of seedlings from the ageratum. I'm not seeing any, but I did throw a whole bunch of seeds down in this section, so this hopefully will refill with a whole bunch of beautiful plants. Zinnias as well, I do believe. Okay, we gotta check out my pink dogwood tree. Oh my goodness. Look. She is ready to go. She's like, come on. I need a little bit of warm weather. And I'm going to put on quite a show, isn't she? Oh. Now this tree I got at Smucker's Garden Center. I got it, I believe, for $35 during their Midnight Madness sale that they have at the end of June of every year. I am so glad I got this tree. Nice height. Okay, let's walk back up. Deutzia. Here's the Deutzia. Look at this big, huge evergreen. Looking good. Gotta pull the Christmas lights. I do have them unplugged, but I'd have to pull the Christmas lights off of the tree. an azalea, the winterberry. And let's stop up here at this tree. This tree is a Bradford pear tree. And unfortunately, this tree does have some disease issues. And it's a shame because I do love this tree. However, Bradford pears are definitely a quote unquote junk tree. They can be very invasive. They throw shoots and runners out all over the place that I'm constantly having to cut back. And because this tree is struggling, I don't want it to break. It is known for having weak points and then breaking. So I don't want any house damage or any vehicle damage, and we have the vehicles here. So this will be going hopefully sooner than later. The last thing we want to look at is our nectarine and our apple tree. And oh, I see growth points on this as well. Very good. Excellent. A couple little dead twigs that I'm gonna have to come out and cut. You see how it's gray, and then this is alive, this is alive, this is dead. That's okay. I'll come out and do that, and I do need to come out and spray this with neem oil. Let's go to my Granny Smith apple. Okay, very good. Starting to flush and fill out. This is quite nice. We do have a little bit of crossing branches. You see that right there? We don't want that. I'm gonna have to do just a little bit of trimming and spray this one as well. But for the most part, not too bad. And I usually don't walk down around this way, but let's walk down past my holly hedge. Love these Nellie Stephen hollies. I might get some more of these. They are just so beautiful, easy to maintain. And down here are two Cleveland pear trees. So Cleveland and Bradford pears, kind of the same thing, quote unquote junk tree. But I tend to enjoy looking at these trees, especially in the spring and summertime, when they put on their show of all the white blooms and then they leaf out. So for now, I'm keeping these two trees. There is no sign of disease. There are no issues with them. So I think we're gonna be okay, but I'm sure someday they will have to come down. I hope you enjoyed this quick winter garden tour with me in the month of February. I'm pretty impressed with how everything is holding up. I'm so glad I was able to come outside in between all of the strong winds and the sub-zero temperatures and the snow, just to check out and see how things are looking in my garden. I have a little bit more hope for some of my plants. I thought some of them were definitely not going to make it, so I am very, very pleased. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right, have a good one. I will see you in the next video. Bye.